Hi everybody, Farmer Brian here, and today we are going to learn some things about trees. And it's a great time of year to do that, with so many leaves falling off the trees. So look at these sycamore trees. They've lost so many of their leaves. These leaves are huge. They're bigger than my hand. This is a huge pile. Wow. Whoa! Ah! Farmer Judey, what are you doing in there?
Oh, hi, Farmer Brian. Well, I was just doing some research, and I was investigating this beautiful pile of leaves, and I found some good examples of leaves that are turning color in this season of fall. So look at these beautiful leaves that are changing different colors.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So let's take these to my collection, and we'll do a bigger investigation. Here's my leaf collection. All of the really awesome leaves that I found today. And yeah, aren't they beautiful? There's so many different colors. So this is from the liquid amber tree, and we have some of them right behind you. And there's actually a mixture of the green leaves still with the different color leaves. And all of the green leaves are starting to change colors. Now the cool thing about these leaves is the chemical that makes a leaf green. It's called chlorophyll. And that green actually covers up all the other color pigments that also are in the leaves. So for instance, you take a look at this really interesting leaf from an ornamental pear tree, right? All of these different colors are always in the leaf, but the green chlorophyll covers it all up. So the chlorophyll is being used up by the leaf. The chlorophyll, or the green, is what reacts with the sunlight and part of the air that we call carbon dioxide, which is the part of the air that we breathe out and trees take in. And all of that creates food for the plant in the form of sugars. As the tree uses up the food in these leaves, the chlorophyll disappears because it's being used up, leaving behind the other colors in the leaf. So this is why we see less and less green as fall goes on into winter, until the leaves you can see just a teeny tiny bit of chlorophyll still left in this leaf along the veins in the leaf, but all the other chlorophyll has been used up, leaving just the reds and the yellows from different chemicals in the leaf.
And now these trees are shedding those leaves. Here are the liquid amber trees. And all those leaves are falling on the ground. So once those leaves fall to the ground, they start to lose their moisture. They get very dry and brittle. And you can crunch them into a million little pieces. Look at that. And they break down, and they'll stay on the ground, and they'll decompose, breaking down into smaller and smaller pieces. And those nutrients that are in there will be recycled into the ground, and the tree's roots will grab those nutrients, and in the spring, bring those nutrients back into the tree to create new leaves. So these are examples of deciduous trees, and I did some traveling around, and I'm going to show you some examples of deciduous trees. Here we have fall coming, and you can see the leaves are changing colors. So the aspen leaves are, during the summer, green, and they become like a bright yellow, like you can see on that tree. And then as the temperature gets colder and the sun's less intense and the days get shorter, the colors start to change. So it moves from that yellow color to an orange and a reddish brown, and then the leaves drop off they're winter deciduous. During the winter, the leaves fall off and the tree conserves its energy because it's going to be snowing here and there's going to be feet of snow covering this whole area. And then in the spring, the little buds, the little leaves will come out again. There'll be little green buds all over these trees. We also have evergreen trees. I want to show you an example of that right now. Farmer Judey has a great example of an evergreen here.
Sure. So an evergreen tree is one that is evergreen. It's always green throughout the entire year, all 4 seasons. And one of the most familiar types of evergreen trees is the pine tree. And here is a great example of a young pine tree. This pine tree has actually been growing here for about 4 years. And it was a tiny, tiny little plant. We'll show you a tiny tree in a minute. But when it grows up, this is what it will look like. So this kind of a tree is called a conifer. That is its scientific name. And the reason it's called a conifer or a conifer is because its seed pods look like cones. So each of the pine tree's cones or seed pods looks like this until it matures or grows enough until it pops open. And then you will see a pine cone as you usually recognize it, which looks like this. So if you look inside of this pine cone, you can see where the seeds, these little feathery things inside, are where the seeds are on a pine tree. And here's an actual pine tree seed right here. If I can get it out.
Oh, wow, Farmer Judey. That's awesome.
And actually, if you've ever had, have you ever eaten a pine nut before, Farmer Brian?
Yeah.
Pine nuts come from pine cones. You can see what a pine tree looks like when it's just a little baby. I always keep an eye out for them in the garden because they are volunteers in a lot of different places in front of our schools. So here it is. It's a little bit of a light bluish green color, or even grayish. And it's just popping out from amidst all of these specialized leaves from the pine tree, which we call needles. This is a dried up needle, obviously. So even though this is a pretty young pine tree, you can see that it has some needles that have used up their lifespan, and they start to yellow out, turn brown, dry out, and they're not useful to the tree anymore as new ones are growing on the edges. And so they start to fall off the tree. And that's why when you walk underneath a pine tree, you'll see all of these pine needles that have been shed. And these actually make a really soft ground cover. And over time, decompose, and they make quite a covering over the ground.
Now you can see I'm in Colorado here, and it's kind of wintry. Look at the snow on the ground here. It snowed last night. Most of it's melting away. It's still pretty chilly out. But this tree here is deciduous, lost all its leaves. It is ready for winter. And winter is coming. Now look at this tree here. This tree did not lose its leaves. This is an evergreen. It's a nice pine tree. And it's going to keep its leaves. But it's not going to do much growing or any growing during the winter because it's going to be snowy here. And the deciduous tree is definitely not doing any growing. It's lost its leaves and it's conserving energy. It's going to wait for sunnier, warmer days in the spring to start to leaf again.